Once upon a time, in the beautiful city of Koforidua, a humble roofer named Papa Bismarck lived with his wife, Ma Lydia, their son, Bismarck, and their little girl, Sade. They didn't have much, just an old zinc roof house with cracked cement walls and a mango tree that gave shade on hot afternoons. But inside there was laughter, warmth, and a kind of love that didn't ask for much in return. Every evening after dinner, Papa would sit under that mango tree, Sadiq held on his lap, and young Bismarck sitting cross-legged on the floor. Bismarck, Papa would say, his voice steady, "If the wind ever carries me away, promise me you protect your mother and your sister." "I promise, Papa," Bismarck would whisper, chest puffed with pride. But in that same house lived a different kind of storm, Ma Lydia. She was beautiful, loud, and full of fire. But the whole neighborhood knew her mouth was a weapon. From morning till night, she picked fights like fruit from a tree. One day it was a neighbor's goat. The next it was because someone kneeled on her shop wall. And always Papa Bismarck would appear in his faded singlet, step between shouting women and say calmly, "Lydia, please, it's not worth it." He had opened a small provision shop for her, painted it bright yellow, stacked the shelves with sugar, sardines, butter bread, and other provisions. But Ma Lydia didn't run the shop, she devoured it. Each morning, she'd sit in front of 3 fresh loaves, peel open a brand new tub of margarine, and dip the bread straight into the margarine. Biscuits, sodas, toffees, she ate them all. When children came to buy sweets, she'd sell one and eat 2. And when the money came, she spent it faster than it arrived. "Lydia," the neighbors murmured, "you are finishing this man's business." But Papa Bismarck never raised his voice. He would smile, count the empty crates, and restock everything the next month. In that house, peace didn't come from perfection, it came from patience. One morning, Papa Bismarck left early with his tools slung over his shoulder, whistling his favorite tune like he always did. But by afternoon, his co-workers returned, carrying his body. He had fallen from a roof. Just like that, he was gone. The house that had once filled with warmth and laughter began to freeze. After the funeral, life became painful. The money Papa left behind vanished fast. Ma Lydia stopped opening the shop. She stopped cooking. She stopped being a mother. She would leave at night wearing loud makeup and clothes that clung to her body like a second skin. In the morning, she'd return reeking of perfume and strange men. "Mama," Bismarck said one evening, voice shaking, "we are hungry." She snapped, "You are the man now, act like one." Bismarck was only 10. Sade, barely 8, cried her hungry self to sleep most nights. And Bismarck would sit beside her in silence, trying to figure out how to become a man to take care of himself and his sister, while his little stomach rumbled. Soon, Ma Lydia stopped coming home at all. Weeks passed, the fridge was empty. The shop stayed closed. The children would often beg the kind neighbors for food, but on most nights they slept on empty stomachs. Then one afternoon she returned, eyes full of something cold. She dropped 2 bags on the floor. "I'm leaving," she said. "Mama," Sade whispered, "I found a rich man. He doesn't know I have children. You two are like stones tied to my legs." "Mama, please," Bismarck began. She raised her hand to silence him. "I left 50 cedis on the table. Survive if you can." Then she turned and walked out. Sade ran after her barefoot on the gravel. "Mama, Mama, please don't go." But Ma Lydia didn't turn back. Bismarck stood still, fist clenched, watching his mother disappear into the street light. And as Sade collapsed at the gate, sobbing, Bismarck walked over, wrapped his arms around her and whispered, "I've got you, I promise." Somewhere in the wind, his papa's voice returned, "Protect your sister." And so began their journey of tears. Bismarck became a shoeshine boy. Every morning before the sun fully rose, he would sling his little wooden box over his shoulder and ran after strangers in the market. "Boss, shine your shoe," he'd say, panting. Sade, small and quiet, stood near the lorry station with a plastic bowl of toffees and chewing gum. "Sweet, sweet, sweet for your wife and children," she chirped with a forced smile. They were just children, but life had turned them into hustlers. They kept their coins in an empty tomato tin, hidden under an old rug. Every evening, they'd count it together, copper by copper, saving for one dream: to return to school. They survived on one meal a day. Sometimes it was just soaked gari or groundnuts in sachet water. But always, Bismarck pushed the food towards Sade first. "Eat, Sade," he'd whisper. "I'm not hungry." Even when his stomach screamed, he smiled. Then one day, as they approached home, something felt wrong. Their belongings, an old mattress, a rusted trunk, and Sade's school shoes were outside, scattered like trash. A group of men stood nearby, arms folded. "What's going on?" Bismarck asked, voice already trembling. One man stepped forward. "Your mother sold this house," he said bluntly. "You don't live here anymore." Bismarck's knees gave way. The house, their papa's pride, the place with memories stuck into every corner, was gone. Sold like old clothes by a mother who only cared about herself. He didn't cry. Sade did enough for both of them. That night, with only a Ghana must go bag, they walked until their legs gave up. They found a small bridge near the market and made it their new home. Bismarck laid the bag down. He sat with his back against the concrete and pulled Sade close, wrapping his arms around her like a blanket. The wind howled, but Bismarck stayed awake, guarding her from the world. When her small body shivered, he held her tighter. "Sleep, Sade," he whispered. "I'm here." And under that bridge, with empty stomachs and a broken past, two siblings held on to each other because that was all they had left. Several years passed. Bismarck was now 21 and Sade was 19. He had grown strong from carrying loads in the market. A head porter with callous hands and quiet dignity, Sade spent her days washing clothes for market women, humming softly as she scrubbed. Life was still hard, but they had each other. One hot afternoon, Bismarck helped the man carry bags of rice and oil to his car. As the man drove off, Bismarck noticed something on the ground. A bag. He picked it up, opened it and froze. Doubtless, stacks of it. His friends crowded around him, eyes wide. "Chale, this is your way out. Keep it. Your life can change today. Sort us out too, eh?" But Bismarck didn't move. He heard his papa's voice, soft, steady, buried deep in his soul. A real man does what is right. That night, he couldn't sleep. The bag sat in front of him like a temptation. Sade said nothing. She knew her brother's heart. The next morning, Bismarck returned to the shop where the man had bought the goods. He waited. One day passed, then another. On the third day, just as he was about to leave, he saw him. Bismarck ran up, clutching the bag. "Sir, you left this," he said. The man stared stunned. "You found it?" "Yes, sir. I didn't know where to find you, so I waited." The man opened the bag. His hands shook. "I thought it was gone forever. I didn't even remember where I dropped it." He looked at Bismarck. "What's your name?" "Bismarck, sir." "Tell me about yourself." Bismarck stood tall. "I live under the bridge with my sister. Our mother abandoned us. Our father died. We've survived together since we were children." The man was silent. Then he said, "Come with me. Bring your sister." He had no family, no children, no wife, just wealth and loneliness. He gave Bismarck and Sade a home. He gave Bismarck a job, and Bismarck worked sunrise to sunset. Honest, loyal, and strong, just like Papa had taught him. Years passed. When the man died, he left everything, every city, every property, every vehicle to Bismarck. The shoeshine boy from under the bridge now owned the company. He had a home, a wife, and a daughter. And Sade became a renowned fashion designer. She traveled the world. her name stitched into designer bags from Accra to Paris. They never forgot the bridge. They never forgot Papa, or the promise Bismarck made under the mango tree. Life had broken them, but it had built something beautiful from the ruins. One sunny afternoon, shouting echoed from the gate. The security's guard voice came through the intercom. "Sir, there's an old woman here. She says she knows you." Bismarck walked to the monitor. He froze. It was Ma Lydia. Her body was thin. Her proud face sunken, her wig tilted. She looked nothing like the woman who once stormed out with red lipstick and tight clothes. He walked down slowly. She saw him and collapsed to his knees. "My son, please forgive me." Her voice cracked. "I saw you on TV. I've been diagnosed with stage 4 cancer. Son, I'm dying. I don't want your money. I only want your forgiveness before I join our ancestors." Her hands trembled. "It was the devil that used me." Just then, Sade came running. When she saw her, her face turned pale. "What are you doing here, you heartless woman? Leave!" Ma Lydia looked up at her, weak and breathless. "You don't deserve our forgiveness," Sade spat. "You left us to die. You sold our father's house, leaving us on the street." Bismarck stood between them, torn. He looked at Sade, then at the broken woman on the ground. He heard it again, Papa's voice. "A real man protects his family." He pulled Sade aside. "Sade, calm down. She says she's dying." "I don't care, Bismarck." Sade snapped. "You can't seriously be thinking of letting this evil woman stay with us. She's asking for forgiveness, that's all. If you want to help her, fine, help her, but send her away after that. Don't let her stay here. She doesn't deserve this peace." "Sade," Bismarck said gently, "we can't let her define who we are. We are better than this. We are bigger than what she did." Sade's eyes filled with tears. She turned to Ma Lydia. "You are lucky my brother is soft. If it were up to me, I'd leave you on the street like you left us. I'd let the cold teach you the lessons you refused to learn." She shook her head and walked away. And so they took her in, not because she deserved it, but because they were raised by a man who taught them to laugh even when it hurt. Ma Lydia moved into the guest room, the one with the soft bed, gold curtains, and a view of the garden. She wore fine clothes, ate rich meals, and smiled all day. "My sickness is healing," she would say, giggling. "Your forgiveness gave me life again." She strode through the house like she owned it, even asked the housekeepers to add extra pepper to her soup. "The bland food here makes me feel more sick," she'd say. But something didn't sit right, because each day she looked stronger. Her cheeks filled out, her skin glowed, her steps were firm. She even dyed her hair violet and refused to let them take her to the hospital, saying she had accepted her fate. She wanted to die in peace. One morning, Sade stood by the hallway, arms folded, and watched Ma Lydia dance barefoot to old high-life music. She said she was dying, Sade muttered under her breath. But now she dances in the hallway like she just won the lottery. She looks stronger than the two of us combined. Bismarck sat in the living room, quietly watching. He didn't say a word, but he wondered too. Then one rainy Sunday evening, Sade had traveled to Milan for a fashion show. The house was quiet. Bismarck, his wife Ife, and their daughter Nanaya sat curled up on the couch, watching an old family movie. Laughter echoed softly through the hall, then a loud crash. The front door burst open. The security man stumbled in, soaked and trembling, a gun pressed against his neck. Two heavily built armed robbers stormed in behind them, faces masked, rifles raised. "Nobody move!" Bismarck jumped up, shielding Ife and Nanaya with his body. "Please," he said, hands raised. "Take anything you want. Just don't hurt my family." "Where is the money?" One begged. "They're steady," Bismarck said calmly, heart pounding. "I'll take you there." Suddenly, Ma Lydia came running out in a wrapper and scarf. "Hey, Jesus, what is this? Thieves in my son's house. Hey!" One of the robbers turned and growled, "Shut up, you old woman. Kneel down." She dropped to the floor wailing. Bismarck led the man to the study. He opened the safe, jewelry, cash, foreign currency. He emptied it all into their bags. They were almost gone. Almost. Then one of the robbers turned. His eyes landed on Effie. Chale, this woman fine, no, he said, licking his lips. He reached out to touch her. Bismarck smacked his hand away instinctively. Don't touch my wife. Everything exploded. There was a struggle, a shout, then a gunshot. Bismarck dropped to the floor. There was blood everywhere, and their screams echoed. Effie screamed as they grabbed her. Nanaya kicked and bit, crying for her daddy, but it was too late. The robbers vanished into the storm, dragging Bismarck's wife and child into the dark. Ma Lydia crawled over to Bismarck, sobbing, my son, my son! But Bismarck didn't answer. Ma Lydia rushed Bismarck to the hospital. The doctors fought through the night. When they were done, their words were grave. He's in a coma. We've done our best. Now only time can tell. Ma Lydia collapsed to the floor, wailing loudly. No one was around to question her grief. Her hands shook as she called Sade. Within hours, Sade left Milan Fashion Week behind. By noon the next day, she was in Ghana, standing beside her brother's hospital bed, his chest rising slowly with the help of machines. And then the call came, the kidnappers. A chilling voice demanded a ransom for Effie and little Nanaya. Sade sprang into action. She began raising the money, calling every contact, emptying accounts, trying to get her family back at any cost. The night before the handover, Sade was anxious as dawn broke and sleep refused to come. Sade went down to the kitchen. She needed a glass of water. Then she heard a whisper. She paused. The balcony light was on. Someone was speaking in hushed tones. She crept closer, barefoot, heart pounding. It was Ma Lydia, her voice sharp, calculating and cold. Rahim, this was not part of the plan. I paid you to rob them, not to kill my son and kidnap his wife and daughter. Sade froze. But come to think of it, Ma Lydia continued, chuckling darkly, it's all worked out for the best. We were to split the money 50-50. Let's make it 80-20 and get rid of the woman and the girl. Sade's hand trembled, the glass nearly slipping. Once they are out of the way, Ma Lydia whispered, I'll pull the plug on that boy at the hospital. As for my foolish daughter, always gallivanting abroad with her rubbish designs, she won't be a problem. This empire will be mine. Let's meet at noon. I'll come and collect my 20% so you do the deed. Sade backed away, eyes wide, her heart shattered. The next day, Ma Lydia dressed in her finest, her head held high. She left the mansion like a queen off to inspect her kingdom. She arrived at an abandoned building. The cash was waiting. So was Rahim. And then sirens. The place was surrounded. Armed police, cameras flashing. The place was surrounded by the police. Sade stepped out from behind a police car, eyes burning. You never cease to amaze me, Mama, she said coldly. You sold your soul for money, and now you finally go where evil people like you belong. Ma Lydia stood speechless. The sunglasses she wore couldn't hide the shame in her eyes. Inside the building, police found Effie and Nanaya chained and terrified. Nanaya was barely conscious. Sade rushed to them, tears streaming down her face. She wrapped them in her arms. You are safe now, I promise. You are safe. In the ambulance, silence wailing, they sped towards the hospital. Sade held her niece's hand. Then her phone rang. Hello, Miss Mensah. The nurse said, your brother just woke up. He's asking for his family. Sade broke into tears. She laughed, hands trembling. Tell him we are on our way. She and Effie smiled at each other. Then Sade looked out of the ambulance window, whispering a soft prayer of thanks. Papa had taught them well, how to love, how to protect, how to endure. But one lesson he had never given was that not everyone deserves a second chance. They had learned that one the hard way. The moral of the story is that a good heart will never lack its reward. And no matter how cruel the world may be, honesty and love will light your path. Bismarck's life taught us something deep and true. But remember also, not every hand that asks for forgiveness is sincere. As our elders say, when the lizard falls from the tree and survives, it learns not to trust every branch. Hi fam, click the link on the right to dive into yet another captivating tale. Don't forget to subscribe and hit the notification button. Until next time, it's bye from us at Apenthene African Stories.